Hi everyone! Today we'll be talking about one of my favorite artists, as you may be able to tell by the shirt. We're talking Taylor Swift. Now I've had the pleasure of listening to her discography all week to come up with the cream of the crop. I'm calling this, undeniably, the top 10 best Taylor Swift songs. And just to stir things up a little bit, I'll have my pick for an overrated song at the end. But in the meantime, let's get to the top 10. At number 10, we have Betty from Folklore. Before she was Miss Americana, before the Swifties, before she was a genre-defying cultural phenomenon, Taylor Swift was a young girl who adored music, idolizing Shania Twain and Faith Hill. An eager and ambitious child, she would start learning guitar and writing songs at the tender age of 12. A year later, the draw of being at the epicenter of country music would cause the Swift family to uproot from central Pennsylvania and move to the suburbs of Nashville, Tennessee. The precocious adolescent was extremely dedicated. While attending school, she would work with veteran Music Row songwriters every week for 2 hours to hone her craft. Shortly thereafter, at age 15, she would sign a record deal and begin her ascension to superstardom. Betty comes from her 8th album, Folklore. In it, she revisits her early country roots. While the instrumentation includes some clever, tasteful flourishes, it mainly focuses on folksy acoustic guitar, dusty harmonica, and Swift's plaintive vocals. Like some of the best country songs, it paints an evocative picture about a young man lamenting his missteps regarding the titular flame. If you kiss me, will it be just like I dreamed it? Will it patch your broken wings? The narrator is not without his share of blame, but you can't help but empathize. I'm only 17, I don't know anything, but I know I miss you. By the time the key changes following the bridge, the arrangement blossoms with swelling organ and lap steel twang that gives the final chorus a breath of optimism, that this love story may not have a fairy tale ending, but it will leave a lasting impression. At number 9, we have Delicate from Reputation. Taylor Swift was already a huge country star before the Album of the Year winning genre-hopping smash 1989 made her an icon. At the same time, it kind of put an X on her back. The enormity of her fame was inescapable for her and the public at large. Every action, no matter how modest or benign, would be amplified into tabloid fodder for bloggers and journalists. Her love life was fiercely dissected, and she would become embroiled in a Kanye, Kim Kardashian, they said, she said, that hardly mattered then, certainly doesn't matter now, but at the time was treated as a controversy. With this as the backdrop, Taylor wrote her new album, Reputation, as a declaration to the haters and the doubters. While the album is full of loud EDM-tinged bangers, Delicate is an electropop stunner that reveals the insecurity underneath all the bravado. Producers Max Martin and Shellback introduced Swift to using a vocoder on her vocal lines, and it adds a fragile, otherworldly element. Even with her voice more alien than ever, lines like, "We can't make promises, now can we, babe? But you can make me a drink," are grounded in reality with emotional depth. The steady electronic pulse gradually expands from a creep to a full clap, giving the ballad some serious drive. While at the beginning she seems full of doubt, by the joyous release of the last chorus, it seems like she's embraced the uncertainty. On her heaviest album to date, it's a moment of levity. Isn't it, isn't it, isn't it? At number 8, we have All Too Well from Red. 1989 was the album Taylor Swift became a cultural innovator. But it was the album before that, Red, where she started to break out of that restrictive country music box. You could call it artistic growth or maturing taste, but Taylor's ambition and drive wasn't going to let her be defined by a genre. Some country purists would balk and claim that it was some kind of bait and switch to go from country to more mainstream pop. But it really wasn't anything than what Dolly Parton or even Garth Brooks had done before her. She made her name in country, but she was ready to explore what songs could be on a Taylor Swift album. Love Story and You Belong With Me were big pop hits, but they still had that southern twang. Red would firmly announce her intention to take over the pop world. All Too Well is the emotional centerpiece of the album. She would write the song with her old songwriting mentor, Liz Rose, who initially said the song was over 20 minutes long. It was such a specific moment for Taylor that the words just flowed out of her. The original release was 5.5 minutes long, and on Red, Taylor's version, it's expanded to an epic 10 minutes. Her lyrics are among her finest work, capturing minute details and all the passion it inspired in her. Her lyrical prowess had improved by leaps and bounds. Anytime now, he's gonna say it's love. You never called it what it was. Its lyrics are both telling off her former flame, but embracing the impact it had on her as well, including the highs, lows, and the messy bits of life as well. The words are so engaging that the shorter version no longer suffices. You need all 10 minutes to capture the drama. The prose is worthy of Bob Dylan, but the passion is pure Taylor Swift. At number 7, we have Shake It Off from 1989. It's impossible to talk about Taylor Swift without talking about the fight for her master recordings, Big Machine Records, an instigating tool named Scooter Braun, and greedy private equity conglomerates. Taylor would sign a contract with Big Machine Records that would grant them the ownership of her first 6 records in exchange for cash advances. She would retain the publishing rights as the primary songwriter. As you can imagine, owning Taylor's music is very lucrative business. Big Machine Records' profits as a record company were 80% Taylor Swift, and in 2020, that was valued at nearly $450 million. As her contract was expiring, Taylor wanted to buy back her old albums. But Big Machine Records wanted to sign her to a new 10-year contract while she would slowly earn back those recordings. This made Taylor furious, and she would sign a new recording deal with more artist-friendly terms, and more importantly, the ability to own her music from the start. Big Machine Records and Taylor's music was then sold to the ex-manager of Kanye West, an all-around general scumbag, Scooter Braun, in a deal financed by private equity firms, all in the name of purchasing the lucrative licensing rights to Taylor's music. Taylor was understandably angry that they were sold without giving her a chance to buy them outright, and subsequently chose to re-record all her old records to regain control of her compositions. Now, this dispute happened after Shake It Off, but it does tie into Shake It Off's lyrics and the crap our young hero has to endure. Over an infectious beat that rivals Hey Ya as the song most likely to get your grandmother up and dancing at a wedding, Taylor burst into the pop scene, literally taunting the doubters, ready to take on the world and shake it off. It's a great song and an undeniably catchy earworm. At number 6, we have Lover from the album of the same name. After Taylor left Big Machine Records, she signed her next deal with Universal Music Group. The deal included a stipulation that if Universal sold their stake in Spotify, they would have to pay out proceeds from that sale to their artist. It might sound like a small concession, but in the notoriously unfriendly to their artists music industry, it was a huge victory for songwriters and musicians. Only someone with the power of Taylor Swift could single-handedly shape and change the music industry. Feeling in a better headspace than her previous dark Reputation vibes, Taylor set off to make the first album that she would truly control. She envisioned a bigger, brighter pop album and a love letter to love. Lover shows her willingness to push her sound and explore new territory. While at times inconsistent, there is no doubt that she was sharpening her songwriting tools. The title track is a lilting, delicate waltz that sounds so intimate, it's almost like you're a voyeur listening in on a couple's sweet nothings. The song is written solely by her and is stunning. Her voice aches with tenderness. Can I go where you go? Will we always be this close, forever and ever? The sparse acoustic guitar and pizzicato strings tug at your heart, but nothing might make your heart give up, quite like her performance on SNL alone at the piano. She channels the soft-lit love letter so thoroughly. She wrote the lyrics. She sings the graceful melody of her life and her love, all on her terms. It's a future standard and a lovely, romantic honeymoon ballad. At number 5, we have Getaway Car from Reputation. Throughout her career, Taylor has written music with top-notch collaborators. For some artists, that might make albums sound disjointed or patchwork, but she has proven that she has such clarity of vision and an acute ear that her albums hang together very well, even with personnel changes. Taylor would first work with Jack Antonoff, formerly of the bands Steel Train and Fun, on the single Sweeter Than Fiction for the film One Chance. They would bond over their love for 80s music, and Antonoff would say it was Taylor who would give him his first chance to produce. While others knew him as a songwriter, his talents behind the faders had been overlooked. That song predates the album 1989, and she would go on to collaborate with Antonoff on songs from every album thereafter, including the forthcoming Taylor's Version re-recordings. Co-written and co-produced by the duo, it's the catchiest, most energetic song on Reputation. Riding insistent programmed drums and pulsing, soaring synths, Taylor sings Rapid Fire, about leaving a relationship just to get into another doomed one. The subject matter might seem a little bit dark, but the chorus is huge. We were driving the getaway car, we were flying, but we never get far. Don't pretend it's such a mystery, think about the place where you first met me. The sheer enthusiasm is so fun and inviting that you want to hitch a ride too. At number 4, we have Cardigan from Folklore. One of Taylor Swift's newest collaborators, Aaron Dessner, has made a huge impact on her songwriting and albums since she first approached him to work on the album that would later become Folklore. Dessner's day gig as a songwriter and member of the epic melancholic rock band The National intrigued her, and his atmospheric, weighty sound heavily colored the album. He would work on 11 of the 16 songs. As it was recorded during global lockdown, they would work separately in quarantine, sending song ideas back and forth. Originally, Dessner thought it would take a while to co-write, but after sending her snippets of melodies, Taylor would send back fully fleshed out songs. Confined to her new home studio, built specifically because of the pandemic, the duo would write a majority of the album in a few weeks. Cardigan was the first song they created together, and it was based on a melody that Dessner had lingering in his mind, called Maple. On Folklore, Taylor relished the opportunity to write songs from different perspectives. This is part of the 3 love triangle songs from the album, along with August and Betty, where they sing of the love triangle from different vantage points. The somber, melodic piano lays the foundation for some of the best Taylor has ever sounded, vocally and lyrically. Her tender voice conveys warmth for these cherished memories and lingering regrets. She has some of her most poetic lyrics. I knew you'd linger like a tattoo kiss. And like the scarf from All Too Well, a simple article of clothing would be a metaphor for lost love. Its combination of lyrics and melody are so beautiful, it borders on magic. At number 3, we have Look What You Made Me Do from Reputation. It kind of goes without saying that Taylor Swift writes some fantastic songs. But you don't rise to the level of megastardom without also doing some other dope stuff. Taylor's videography is filled with clever, inventive music videos. Taylor's vision wasn't simply confined to music. She had a mind for film as well. And as Taylor grew as a person, she also grew as a musician and a visual artist. She won the VMA for Best Female Music Video that Kanye infamously interrupted to preach about single ladies back in 2009 for You Belong With Me. With its fun, romantic comedy vibe, it totally fits the song's Sugar High. But Look What You Made Me Do, that might be the best music video of all time. It out-thrills Thriller. Its catchy comeback mini-suite has splashes of Mad Max and B-movie horror films. At the end, the old Taylors from previous videos literally worship at the altar of new Taylor. It's an incredibly cinematic, stimulating, artistic spectacle. Don't sleep on the song though, it still bangs. It's perfectly created for her Reputation Stadium tour. It's so dramatic, the new school Bohemian Rhapsody. It's like a short play in several acts. It switches from Prince electro-funk to grimy trap, and then to the haunting bridge. I'll be the actress starring in your bad dreams. Its many parts are mini dopamine rushes that make it so addictive. Look What You Made Me Do is edgy, progressive pop, and a killer jam. At number 2, we have Blank Space from 1989. We couldn't talk the top Tay collaborators without bringing up the golden ticket, Swedish mastermind Max Martin. He's one of the most famous songwriter-producers ever, with 25 number 1 hit singles from Baby One More Time to Blinding Lights. He is a hook machine that has shaped modern radio for the past 20 years. You can never 100% trust that a song will be a hit, but if Max Martin's name is involved, there's a good chance. With his right-hand man, Shellback, they first co-wrote a song with Taylor on We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together, off Red, which was a letter of intent that Taylor was about to storm the pop world. As you'll soon find out, he had his input on the number 1 best song too. He has the gift of being able to dream up earworms and challenge Taylor to write some of her most iconic moments. Blank Space is somehow both minimal and incredibly dynamic. Its electro-pop digital drum hits are calm during the verse to emphasize her vocals, but the guitars and synths fill in during the chorus in comparison, adding doubled vocals and the jubilant ending, and you love the game. This pop is sharper than a chef's knife, weapons grade. The lyrics fit the tone perfectly as she satirizes her public persona. You could hear that she's having a blast, playing a nightmare dressed as a daydream. It's larger than life sounding, incredibly catchy fun, breaking hearts and taking names. At number 1, we have Wildest Dreams from 1989. It was recently reported that Taylor Swift turned down the opportunity to play at the Super Bowl halftime show in order to focus on re-recording her old material. Honestly, kudos to sticking to priorities. It's honestly inevitable that she will eventually play the halftime anyway, and it will be required viewing. It's worth mentioning again that re-recording her old songs is a boss move. She's reclaiming her compositions from the greedy ledger of some mega-rich vampire who purchased it for his portfolio. Not every artist would be able to do such a thing, but it's an ingenious way for her to take back what is rightfully hers. She recently released Wildest Dreams Taylor's version after a TikTok trend blew up using the song, and it still retains its magnetism. Wildest Dreams was the 5th single released off 1989, showing just how many hits were on that album. It's the best one. At the time, Some compared it to her contemporary Lana Del Rey. I mean, I guess it does have that dark, sultry vibe, but Taylor brings more emotion than Lana tends to muster. Wildest Dreams is a dreamy power ballad with the emphasis on power. Its beat is actually Taylor's heartbeat, which starts the song with washes of synth strings and her voice hushed. The chorus is an absolute explosion of emotion. Say you'll remember me, standing in a nice dress, looking at the sunset, babe. It looks at a failed relationship with deep fondness. Taylor has many love songs, but few are as bombastic and epic. Even with personal lyrics, it has universal appeal, tapping into this wistful feeling in such a dramatic way, like you're the protagonist in some Hollywood production. With its sweeping, cinematic quality, its huge, cathartic last chorus, and gorgeous melody, it's her very best. And now, I'll add 2 songs that almost made the list. The first is Back to December. Coming off of Speak Now, it's the oldest Taylor song to nearly make the list. Her songwriting has definitely improved and matured over time. And I'm also not the biggest modern country pop fan either. So some of her earlier material is a little hard for me to get warmed up to. Back to December is an early song that showed how gifted a writer she was. Taylor is often unfairly attacked for playing the victim, but in Back to December, she's the bad guy, apologizing for hurting her ex-flame. With its swaying strings and indelible melody, it's well worth mentioning among her best songs. The other close call is The Lakes. Originally included in the deluxe version of Folklore, it was probably not included because it didn't fit the overall chill tone to the album. Jack Antonoff loved the song and had a full orchestra arranged and recorded for it. When Taylor heard it, she told him to make it small. So the first release features a more scaled back string arrangement. The original, with the full orchestral sheen, would be unveiled a year later on the anniversary of Folklore's release. In either version, it's a pristine, melodramatic winner. It has some of Taylor's most poetic musings, and the melody is simply beautiful. It deserves to be brought up among her best work. Finally, let's talk about what I consider the most overrated song from Taylor Swift. And for that, I choose Me from Lover. Somehow, it was the lead single to that album, despite both the man and the title track being far superior. I'll probably never get over how overplayed it was. I don't think many of her fans could really consider it one of her best. It's like some B-grade Katy Perry. It has none of Taylor's personality. It's very generic. Getting the Panic at the Disco dude to duet like he's Adam Levine's overeager younger brother doesn't help. Typically in a duet, there's chemistry between the two, but here, there's none. Some of the lyrics seem like placeholder lyrics. The chorus literally rhymes me with me and you with you. And I can't help but think that cool chicks and lame guys could have used another pass as well. I get that it's supposed to have a happy vibe and a positive message, but it really comes off in a cheesy way, with a cloying, uninspired hook. It is cool watching her write the song Me in Miss Americana. I love the process of creation, but the final product, I don't think it's one of her best. It's the sound of her trying too hard and kind of losing sight of what makes her songs so exceptional. Her personality and her voice. In Me, it gets lost in the sugar rush high and Technicolor spectacle. Sorry guys, Me just isn't for me. See what I did there? Rhyming me with me? As you're still watching, I wanted to feature a deep cut as well. And for that, I choose Ronin. It was originally released as a charity single, and then also included in Red, Taylor's version. Taylor had read a blog from a mother describing her 3-year-old son had been diagnosed and eventually passed away from cancer. Taylor took some of the words from the blog and wrote an absolutely heartbreaking stunner of a song. It's a soft, tender ballad,
whose loving, honest words can be gutting. For using parts of her post, Ronan's mother is even credited as a co-writer. Her performance of the song on the Stand Up to Cancer telethon is stirring and resonant. If you're not as familiar with the song, you should definitely give it a listen. So there you have it. That was undeniably the top 10 best Taylor Swift songs. So, how wrong was I? Do you agree? Do you disagree? What are your top 3 picks? Is me one of your favorites? Let me know. And if there's any artist you'd like to see me rank, let me know in the comments below. Hope you stick around, and thank you for watching.
As you may be able to... okay. And writing
Writing eggs.
Writing eggs. The precocious adolescent... what? What? No. Okay.
What?
The album of the... no. The album of the... Still? Flotter. Dang it. Electronic since he first... Confined to her new... I still feel like I said confined.
You did.
It's kind of inevitable. I guess that... I know. Watching get...
What was that?
I don't know.
So weird.
Okay. Losing it after hour 5.
I don't know anything, but you know. See? I keep adding you know.
You know.
You know it, babe.
Love
You know it.
you know in there.
Okay.
Taylor's just always putting you know into all her songs.
You know, babe. Okay.